Hello and welcome to another episode of All Elite Arcade, your place, your location for AEW games discussions about video games. It's myself, Evil Uno, and as always, the Chugs. How are you doing, the Chugs?
Yes, I am doing wonderful. It's been a great week of gaming for me. How about you, Uno?
Honestly, it's been a very, very good week. I played one game and one game dominantly almost over everything else. I had pre-downloaded this on Game Pass, Indiana Jones, and I believe the Golden Circle is what it is called. And
I'm so glad you played it because I have not touched it yet. Is it as amazing as everyone says it is?
Yes, it is. To be honest, I was a little wary about the game because I wasn't sure how well it would play. Previous Indiana Jones games, like, you don't get the full effect of it because it wasn't structured in a cinematic sense. Nowadays, like, the graphics, you can pretty much emulate his face at all times. And then on top of that, Troy Baker is incredible at a job and is just capable of doing Harrison Ford's voice so very well that playing it feels like you're watching a new movie and you're participating in it for sure. But I'm already 10 hours into this game.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. I the first day I played an hour or two of the game, and the first little part is a little slow. You actually, not to be completely spoiler free, there is a slight spoiler. You play you play the scene where you replace the bag with the totem from the original movie. You replay that whole scene in video game format as like a tutorial, and then it goes into like the story of what this game is about. And so for the first hour and a bit, it's a lot of teaching you the mechanics and kind of giving you the setting of the story, teaching you the characters, which part, like, where canonically this goes in like the Indiana Jones series. But then about an hour and a half in, it throws you into the first location, which is the Vatican, and it just tells you, hey, explore, do what you want. And I think that's where the strength of this game is. It's very much an Indiana Jones game. The music is great. The visuals are great. It's very much set up in a way where you have these great moments of adventure, these huge puzzles. But then once it gets to an open world, that's where I actually think the strength of the game is, because there's puzzles everywhere. You get to freely explore. There's stealth elements to the game, and as you're stealthing around, trying to like discover new areas in the Vatican, for example. There are several maps, but we'll talk just about the Vatican for now. As you're exploring all these things, there's a lot of things to discover. There's characters to get side missions from. And the puzzles, unlike other games where they might like hammer it on the head what you should do, if you read a note and that note is relevant to the puzzle, you have to go and find that note again to reread it to maybe parse through the information to solve the actual puzzles, which is very cool because just structurally it makes you feel like solving these puzzles was you rather than you being led by the hand through it. This is a Bethesda game, and maybe the best looking Bethesda game in quite some time, although I did not play their more recent spaced one, Starfield. Yeah. Okay. I played a little bit, but I didn't jump into it a whole lot. It's very stunning. But these puzzles are, if you played Bethesda's most recent Prey game, the like standalone, it wasn't a remake. I guess it was like they made a new Prey game. They were supposed to make a Prey series. That game is structured in a way that as you explore this big science center, you might find like notepads from people telling you like, oh, this is where I would go for a code. This is who's in charge of this office. Oh, in this office you get to there and they're like, oh, to unlock this door, this doctor has this key. And so you explore around kind of with that information. And I really liked how that game was structured because you had to unlock paths kind of in like a Castlevania way, but a lot of it was just learning the knowledge to get those pieces. And Indiana Jones, the same thing, except Indiana Jones, it as like a puzzle game. You get into a room and there's like 3 giant statues. They have to be rotated. You have to figure out why you would do these things. And it makes sense in the more context. Whereas like in Prey, for some reason every door is locked, and every door you have to find a doctor within a location to get a key card to blah 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 blah. This one it feels more realistic as you're doing it, and so I'm really into the puzzle elements. And then some people are not huge into like the movement of the game, but I actually think like it plays very well in first person. I was very surprised. The fist fighting is a lot of fun. Whipping people with your whip is great. There's some decent little platforming elements where you use your whip to climb up or like jungle around from one location to another and like swing around and stuff. So it's very neat. I'm 10 hours in. To give you how good of a game this is such a late entry. It came out second week of December, and I think it will make my top 10 of game of the year this year.
Wow.
Yeah, it actually knocked down a game for sure. And so, yeah, I'm enjoying it that much. I don't know where it'll rank in the order of things, but it will definitely, I think, make my top 10.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because Uno, I did see a side-by-side comparison of that scene you were talking about.
Yes.
I believe that IGN posted it as well, which I'm so glad they did because I have not played the game yet. It looks like to a T the scene from the movie. It was so cool. So that is the tutorial area you were saying.
Yes, yeah. So you play that for the first like 10, 15 minutes, and then it goes into like whatever. It jumps up in time to where you are in the story, and from there the opening area teaches you all this stuff as well.
And it's nice to know too, because I had heard from a couple of people, some people have said maybe the beginning started a little bit slow, but then at some point they got hooked. So you felt like pretty early on, like you said.
Yeah, I think the first hour, you're not actually seeing the open world portion of it. It feels very like you're being led through at the beginning. But the second you get into the open world, you realize that if you don't go into the story, you have all of this extra content. And that's when you're like, okay, I can actually play the game the way I think I would play this game. For me, it's exploring tombs and going underground and finding secret doors and trying to parse information so that I could solve like cool puzzles. And like it gives you that fairly quickly in the game, about like an hour-ish in.
Oh, that's awesome. And then Uno, other than Indiana Jones, I'm assuming you've had some more Pokemon trading card game Pocket experience. Any really good pulls this week?
So they had that new event thing this week where you can get like a Bulbasaur, a Magnemite. I finally unlocked all those things. I'm still, I think, one promo card away from completing this second set of promo cards in the battle section. I have 228 unique cards, and I think I need another 22, I think, to complete the sets without counting all of the special cards. But it's been a week, and I think in a week, I wake up. I know you have a schedule, and you wake up, or you do it once in the morning, once at night. I do the same thing on opening my packs, and I think in a whole week, I've only gotten one good one.
Same.
And it was myself, the Chugs, and Brandon Cutler have a little group where we send each other our biggest pulls. And Brandon Cutler sent us a pull, and it had been maybe 4 days since I gotten anything of interest. And it genuinely made me mad. And my next pull, I pulled a better version of his card. And that's the last thing I did. I've been riding on that crumb of like of reward for about 6 days now. I'm still loving the game. I can see though that if in a few weeks I can't see a trajectory to a new pack coming up, I might start slowing down on it a little bit until more content comes in, because I'll probably still open it, but I don't think I'll do a lot of the battles or anything like that until I get that reward of opening a pack and seeing multiple new cards. Whereas now it's really every 8 to 10 packs, I might get one that's on the list that I didn't have before. What about you? I know you had a huge pull this week as well.
No, exactly. Well, but it's similar to what you said. Now, Uno, I've gotten to a point where I've gotten quite a few of the cards. I think I'm at 222 original cards as well. So I still have a little ways to go. But again, same thing. It's like this past week, it feels like every pack that I opened, I either got no rares at all, or I've also run into situations, I couldn't believe this, but like, for example, before my Golden Crown Mewtwo, the rarest card that I got was a 2-star Charizard, which I was really excited about. I pulled another 2-star Charizard. So I was like, oh my God, of all the cards to pull, all the rare cards to pull. But I did this week, actually just last night, which I sent this text in our group chat that you were talking about. I did get a 1-star Cubone, which is really, really cool. And I love the art style. It's like a bunch of Cubones together. So I was excited that I got a good pull. I still need a lot more practice with the battles. I haven't really jumped in. I generally speaking have gone in, opened up a pack, and then I organized binders to make everything look really cool. But I'm loving the game. I do need to at some point get more into the battles, but the collecting portion is just so much fun.
Yeah, battle wise, I did like all the single player events, but anytime I play with a person, I realize like, oh, I am not as in tune with what you should do in this game as everyone else. I just get destroyed. And so I don't do a lot of like battling others unless it's like someone personally requests to have a fight with me. I'll send a friend code and do that. But otherwise I really don't engage in the public one-on-ones because everyone is incredible on there. At least from
so good.
The current fight event is you have to get 5 wins in a row to get a badge. I have had 1 win in 32 games. And so it's not going to happen.
Right. Hey, who knows? Who knows? You are indeed a puzzle master.
It is true.
And at the end of the day, this game is just a puzzle game, right?
That's right. I'll get there for sure. What about you? Yeah. I know. That's our linking for sure. We both played Pokemon, but you must be playing other stuff as well.
Big time. Yes, I am. And Uno actually, as far as and I know I talk about this a lot, but I really, for the most part this week, just put a ton of time into my 5-game cycle. Yes. I had some like long streams this week. I think every game I'm going to mention today on this podcast, I put at least 4 hours in on stream, which is really, really nice. Other than that, there was a lot of huge gaming events going on this week that I got to actually watch. I know we discussed this last week between watching games and playing. I probably did just as much watching this week. But in regards to the games that I put some serious time into, once again, I put a lot more time into Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, and I made it to this area now called Drangleic Castle, which is towards the end of the base game. It's where the story really starts to come together. The rooms and the enemies are getting more and more challenging. I'm currently using a Vengarl armor set, which is my personal favorite in the game. It looks really, really cool. It's like a wolf or a lion set. That's some of the strongest armor in the game as well. Also using a Drangleic sword, which is a special sword, which takes Twinkling Titanite to level up. You can only get Twinkling Titanite weapons up to +5 because it's a special type of Titanite shard that you have to use. But actually playing this game, I was thinking about this more and more. And Uno, I was actually going to have a question for you in regards to this as well, because it really got me thinking this week. Someone mentioned this on my stream, and every single Soulsborne game I've played, whether it's Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, which this doesn't really apply, but Sekiro, Elden Ring, this definitely applies. I have always done a quality build, which has been based on strength and dex. And as I've been playing in the beginning, when I first started playing, I was definitely more strength with secondary index. I had a big shield. I had a nice big heavy sword, but not like an ultra great sword, but something heavy, predominantly in strength, both for shields and swords. Now, as I'm playing, I'm getting more and more primarily dex with like a secondary in strength, where I'm not carrying a shield anymore. Maybe I'm a little bit lighter. Maybe I want to be able to swing a little bit faster, but I've never, ever, ever done a like magic build, like an intelligence build or a faith build. And I feel like as I'm collecting all these items, specifically in Dark Souls 2, I'm like, there's probably a whole different game for me to experience with different spells and different weapons that you can use. So I think, man, at some point I do want to run through and be able to talk about my experience with magic in some of these Souls games. And I've never done it before. But what I was going to ask is, have you ever done a Souls game with like purely magic?
No, so I think you and I are exactly the same way, where
I think we are.
I like, to me, those games are about swinging a sword and rolling. So most of the time I'm a strength and dex, and then eventually I end up going more into dex because I don't play with a shield most times. I'd rather roll out of the way. So that's some weight off, and I'd get a light armor because usually I'd have a heavy weapon, so I would like even out on my weight distribution.
Me too.
And so like that's kind of how I've always played it. I did in Elden Ring because I've tried to play it twice after. And originally I tried to do a mage build, but I had no understanding of how to build it. And I think if I were to go back, and I think I will at some point, especially we're going to talk about Elden Ring later in this episode as well.
Oh yeah.
I do really want to do it because it really feels like, especially in Elden Ring, where there are stories that are based on faith builds, or there's side content for specific builds of your character. A ton of stuff. I know I haven't seen this stuff, and then on top of that, I know it would feel like a different game if I played it. I played maybe 4 hours with my mage build, and I could not do squat when I started the game, and I think that's because to make a mage build work, you have to really be precise on how you like invest your stuff. Make sure you get specific like weapons that reinforce whatever that spell you would use. And so I think if I were to ever do it again, I'd probably do it with a guide. But I would be very curious to see, especially you're the same way as me. We're about the roll and the attack and trying to get into that little frame. 100%. I'd be really curious to see, because I don't even do like long distance weaponry at all.
Yeah.
I'd be very curious to see what a mage or a fate build would look like for sure.
Yeah, me too. Please let us know in the comments down below.
Please,
if you're watching this on YouTube, are you more of a quality strength dex build, or are you more of an intelligence faith build? I am curious.
Yeah, and if you ever have done it or have like a guide that you would follow, put it in that YouTube comment because I will go check it out.
Yes. And then very quickly, one more thing on Dark Souls 2, because this is my second playthrough of this game, but it's been quite some time, is I'm about to fight this boss called the Looking Glass Knight.
Yes.
And I will say Dark Souls 2 sometimes gets a lot of criticism, but it had a lot of amazing mechanics and really cool ideas. And this boss, the Looking Glass Knight, it's so cool. It's at the top of this castle with all this rain coming down and this knight that looks just amazing. He's huge, but his shield is like a mirror. And back when Dark Souls 2 first came out, I don't know how much this happens now, but there was a covenant where the Looking Glass Knight puts his shield down, and another player comes out of this shield, and you have to fight the boss and another player. Oh. Now mostly it's NPCs, but that idea of that happening was such a cool concept. So very excited to fight the Looking Glass Knight coming up, probably the next Dark Souls 2 stream. But also very quickly, the other two games that I put some more time into, once again, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. And I know I sound like a broken record when I say this, but again, as the game is continuing more and more and more, it's one of those games, specifically Metroidvanias, that I'm falling in love with more and more. It's the exact same way I felt about Hollow Knight. When I first started Hollow Knight, I was getting destroyed. I didn't know where to go. I was so intimidated by the game. And then as I started to figure out the mechanics and the boss fights, I got better and better. The game got more and more challenging, but I also got better, and I loved it even more. For example, I think the last time I talked about Prince of Persia, I was stuck on a boss for like 45 minutes.
Yes.
And then I had to end the stream. But then this past week, it's the best feeling in the world with a game, specifically with a boss fight, when you start to figure it out and you start playing really well. Like a lot of Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown is based on parries. And this boss that I fought, it was very, very parry heavy. So to be able to beat the boss with a ton of health potions left felt really, really cool. It's one of those games that, again, once you start to figure it out and once you start to understand these bosses and the game mechanics, it makes you feel like you're really good at the game, which I always appreciate. That's like a weird unwritten thing that I know some game devs are really, really good about once you start to figure it out. So yeah, really, really loving Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Once again, can't recommend it enough. I think I'm probably 60% of the way done with the game, but it's awesome. It's so cool. And then last but not least, I know I've talked about this before as well, but again, Silent Hill 2. I'm playing the original Silent Hill 2. And speaking of puzzles, I just put 4 hours in yesterday. Again, some of the puzzles are so awesome where oftentimes, Uno, the Chugs Army gives me a hard time because I will sit there and I'll take a picture of my TV to like remember what the dialogue is so I don't have to run back and forth to do it. And I'm there looking at my phone going, okay, this guy, okay, this goes here. And it pays off. Thank God for camera phones, dude. But I won't go into detail about this because it does cover, anyone who's played Silent Hill 2 knows that there are some very, very heavy topics discussed in that game. And I just continued Angela's story a little bit further. And man, dude, the psychological horror aspect of Silent Hill 2 really is second to none. Knowing that the enemy design is based on certain circumstances or situations or trauma that either James or other characters have gone through is just, It's unlike anything I've played before. It really is. Like, for example, there was this one moment, and this whole room was just for this. You go into a bathroom and you go up to a door because you kind of hear something. Just it's so ever so slight, and you can knock on the bathroom door, and it says nothing happens. But you knock and nothing happens. Then you go to leave the room, and the loudest crash sound happens. But that's it. There's no items in the room, just to scare you, just to creep you out. And the audio design in Silent Hill 2, there's an area too where you're going through a prison, and the prison cells are locked. And it sounds like, I'm wearing headphones, it sounds like someone is whispering in your ear. And again, this came out in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable how ahead of the curve they were when it came to horror design, and then stuff randomly opening. But again, a very, very heavy, a very intense psychological horror game that I am experiencing fully for the first time, and it has not disappointed. It is certainly one of the most eerie video games I've ever played. So if you're looking for a creepy video game, Silent Hill 2 is it.
I remember just the sound design of that game alone is, to be honest, probably the biggest strength of that game. Yeah. Because without the atmosphere music that is set in, without like the sounds assigned to, because a lot of times you'll hear sounds of things before you even see them. And that anticipation, especially when you're in those corridors in the apartment where it's all dark and you don't know what's coming up. Or even in the fog, right? You hear them. You know they're in there. It really adds for like insane amount of like anxiety and suspense when you're playing it.
It really does. And I'm so excited. Again, I feel like I've got to be close to finishing Silent Hill 2 as well. But after that, I'm going to jump into my first playthrough of Silent Hill 3. So I'm very excited.
I've never played
to talk
3.
about. Yeah, I have not either. So I'm very, very excited to be able to talk about Silent Hill 3 here on this podcast, because again, that one gets a lot of rave reviews as well. So Silent Hill is awesome. An amazing horror franchise.
Yeah, if you get the chance, go follow Chugs on twitch.tv/thechugs. He's going to be jumping into Silent Hill 3, so there's a little tease of the future. You got anything else on your plate, Chugs?
No, that's been about it. But it has been a huge week in regards to news.
Yeah, week. Has it ever? This is the week. If not this month, we got a lot to talk about because the Game Awards just came out this very week, including we have a list of all winners, and there are so many games to talk about, and we will talk about all of that right after this. Hello and welcome back to All Elite Arcade. Hey, are you an AEW insider? Well, get early access to ticket sales, special merchandise offers, and more straight to your inbox. All you gotta do is go to sign up today at awtix.com and get that newsletter. Find out all the information about AEW and become an AEW insider. It's been a huge week for news. Huge. If you did not know, the Game Awards just happened December 12th.
Yes.
12th, that's right. Our man, the Chugs here, actually live streamed and watched it. I got a lot of messages about how excited you were for a few of them. And I think what I would like to start with, I think we'll talk about the games that they've shown. I didn't get to see the full presentation. It was a 3.5-hour presentation, including musical events, a lot of guests. I remember Harrison Ford was on stage at one point. I popped in because we were in the middle of a Collision taping, and I was like, oh, I wonder what's going on. And when I opened my phone, Harrison Ford was just on stage. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's great. Yeah, that sounds like the Game Awards. Lots of stuff has happened, so I think we're going to try to first let's talk about the games that were announced, and then we will talk about the winners. If you have anything you want to add to it, though, because you watched it live, we will talk about that as well.
Sure. And I just will quickly say, again, top to bottom, from the musical performances, the announcements, the guests, it was an incredible show, worthy of the 10-year anniversary of the Game Awards. But absolutely, yeah, we can get into it.
Yeah, and I'm basing this strictly on game announcements. They did not hold back. They had a lot of insanely interesting stuff. So I'm going to get started. This one was actually on the pre-show and not on the main show, because on top of the Game Awards being 3.5 hours, they still developed a previous 30-minute pre-show with other games and other awards, including my favorite of that pre-show, because I did end up watching all of that. There's a new Ninja Gaiden game.
Yeah.
I believe that's called Rage.
That's what they opened with.
Yeah, they opened with a Ninja Gaiden Ragebound from the people that made the Streets of Rage 4 game recently, and those guys have been incredible. It's also the studio behind Blasphemous.
Yes.
So
right.
Yes, visually looks very stunning. I'm a big Ninja Gaiden guy. I didn't think we'd ever get to that. I know we had gotten a remake of Shinobi a few years ago, and or no, a Strider is what I'm thinking.
Oh,
and I just never thought we'd get a Ninja Gaiden game. So this looks super good, very visually stunning, and I'm very excited for it.
It does. Yeah, graphically, it looks really impressive. Again, this opened with the opening act. Like you said, the 30-minute pre-show before the main show. This is the first thing they showed. Again, it looks awesome, looks right up our alley. And once again, the Blasphemous series, the Metroidvania games, those are some of my favorite Metroidvanias of all time. So again, the fact that that team is working on this new Ninja Gaiden is really exciting. This one immediately is going to be one that I add to my wish list.
Oh yeah, it's going on mine for sure as well. And in there we also talked about Slay the Spire 2 on the pre-show.
Yeah.
Dave the Diver had stuff. Solasta 2 got a trailer, and it's kind of like Path of Exiles or a Baldur's Gate type of game. It looks very, very nice as well. And that was the big closer for the pre-show. And there's other stuff. They showed VR stuff as well, but we can't go through every trailer or else we'll be here for 3 hours.
Right.
But the main show was just banger after banger, including, I never thought the first trailer would be this one. I thought this would close it if they were going to show it. They showed a pretty lengthy piece on Witcher 4. Like, one... instantly, they open up and it says CD Projekt Red. I was like, are we seeing this already? I feel like we just talked about it last week. And visually, incredibly stunning. The graphics they did. The story and lore that they showed in this little piece was beautiful. I'm so excited now, especially that I'm deep into a Witcher 3 gameplay right now. It looks stunning, and I cannot wait. I don't know how far it is, though.
Yeah,
but I was shocked to see that this opened the show.
I couldn't believe that this was how they opened the show. Again, first of all, like you said, Uno, The Witcher 4 looks incredible. Or I know that was just like a cutscene, but graphically looks so impressive. And again, we were just talking about The Witcher, so the fact that we opened with this announcement is amazing. Also, I have so many questions. First of all, I was hoping with this new trilogy, or at least this new game, that we were going to showcase Ciri. And it looks like that's exactly what we're doing. And Ciri has matured quite a bit. At least it seems that way within this game. But also, the question I have is, Ciri is like drinking Witcher potions, which means she's fully transformed into a Witcher.
Which means she would have had the mutagen as well.
Yes. Exactly. So I'm very curious how much time has passed or how this has happened for Ciri, but I'm so excited. You couldn't have started with like a hotter opening, like a bigger opening than The Witcher 4. And then what do they follow it up with?
Yeah, okay. So this is another thing that there's a lot on this show where I would have never predicted this is what they would show, including the closer, which we'll talk about at the very end. But they followed this almost immediately with like, oh yeah, by the way, we also are showing you this. There's a brand new Elden Ring game coming out, a standalone. We just played Elden Ring. We just played the DLC. It both got nominated over last year's as best game. And now they're like, hey, you know what you really want is like a more co-op focused Elden Ring game. And we're just going to give it to you in 2025. It's a brand new Elden Ring game. It's called Night Rain. And from my understanding, it is like more focused on the aspect of rather than calling in people to do a fight, you are 2 players, maybe even 3, consistently together in a party to run through the lands. It looks good. There's actual gameplay in it. The boss fights that they were showing in it, I was like, I can't wait to just do this. And it's coming in 2025. It's not even far away, which is insane as well.
Unbelievable. Again, last thing I expected or would have had on my bingo card was another Elden Ring game.
Yes.
Again, looks unbelievable. I immediately went and did some research to kind of see anyone who has put their hands on it. And a couple people have. And Uno, at least this is what it looks like. First of all, like you said, it's a 3-person Elden Ring game. And it's almost like a roguelike where like apparently there's like this day cycle. And like one day within the game is like 15 minutes. And then when it gets to nighttime, it's literally almost like Fortnite, where the map kind of closes off. And you can't go outside of that ring because there's like rain that hurts you or something like that. But you have to go out and explore and try to level your character up, get different weapons, get different health upgrades as quickly as possible. Yeah, while you're taking out these enemies. And then you fight a boss for that day in the evening. And then if you defeat that boss, another day cycle starts, and that can happen up to 3 times. So like the final boss is the 3rd day. But there's apparently 8 different maps, like 8 different levels with all different bosses. They showed in this trailer, I couldn't believe it, they showed the Nameless King, the Dark Souls 3 optional boss. I'm like, what other optional bosses are going to be in here? This has me so hyped, dude. Freaking hyped.
So I was not predicting this in any way. I thought, to be honest, I thought we'd be done with Elden Ring, because I thought like, okay, maybe they tease their next project and it's another IP, but instead they're like, we can do a lot with this still. And I was surprised. Like, I might be more excited for this than I was for the DLC, just because my biggest issue with Elden Ring is that the co-op is it's still kind of like fixated in the old ways, whereas this one is really focused on get your crew together, get in there and get out. And I think it's going to change the way people play Elden Ring as well. It's way more bite-sized. It'll be more collaborative. And then if you fail, there's 3 of you, it will not feel as bad as when you fail alone over and over for like 2+ hours, right?
Right.
So very excited for this, and we won't even have to wait that long, which is really, really impressive.
Wild.
And the train keeps going on, because we then heard about Project Robot. This is not the actual name of the game, but it is the next project from Fumito Ueda, who is the person who, well, not the person, part of the team that made Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and the most recent game, which I loved a whole lot, Last Guardian. We haven't seen that since Last Guardian was PS4.
Yes,
I believe so. Right?
So.
It was like almost launch of PS4, and this one seems it goes back to a lot of his tropes. But they showed a trailer. It was a cinematic based trailer where you climb onto a giant robot, and then I believe you are the character. Your robot is your vehicle, essentially. Like you climb up to the top of it, and then imagine a Gundam, and the Gundam just walks around to the next thing. They didn't show a whole lot about it, but I'm very excited they make very emotionally poignant games and very unique little worlds. So I'm very excited that we're going to get more of it, and hopefully we will get to see more soon, but I don't think it will be coming out in 2025.
Yeah. Like you said, an amazing trailer. Didn't get to see much, but guaranteed with this track record, this is definitely going to be a game we're going to want to check out. It does. It looks awesome.
Also, this is, I think, is just a staple of the Game Awards, but the Takes-Two studio, this is the people that made It Takes Two. You might know him as the guy who just kept swearing and getting super excited at 2 Game Awards ago, and it became a meme. Well, they just displayed their next game. It's another co-op based game. This time you're 2 players. It is called Split Fiction. And you take the control of 2 writers who are trapped in a simulation of their fantasy and sci-fi novels, and you jump within their sci-fi world to the fantasy world and meld back and forth. It's very interesting because I feel like we don't get a lot of interesting co-op games, and this studio alone is so driven on making a 2-player experience. And now within like the first 30 minutes of this entire presentation, we already had 2 large co-op games, and there's more too on this thing. So I'm very excited for that, and it's coming out only in March. That's just around the corner.
Right. Yeah, that'll be awesome.
It's very, very cool. Other stuff we talked about, and we saw this one you might have been excited for. We saw a gameplay trailer of Borderlands 4.
Yes.
And you know what?
Yes.
It looks clean as hell.
It does.
Yes.
It does. Again, Borderlands, that art style is so original to Borderlands. And like you said, it does look super, super clean. I have been itching for another Borderlands experience for quite some time. I really enjoyed Borderlands 3. Borderlands 4 looks awesome. Again, if it's all I want is more Borderlands. Give me more of exactly what already exists. I'm sure there's going to be some new mechanics, new guns, new classes, a brand new story. But I will be a day one Borderlands 4 player. I can't wait. It looks great.
I think I'm going to play this one as well. I feel like 3, I dropped off so quickly that I never really got, I really didn't get to have my Borderlands 2 experience. Like Borderlands 2 co-op was one of my favorite things to play for the longest time. And then I think 3 just kind of came out in a very, the game wasn't bad as much as I think it just didn't live up to other games that came in around the same time. And so I'm really excited if 4 will regain, the attention that 2 would have, as well as like that loop that was so fun.
Yeah, I would hope so as well. I mean, again, 2 is regarded as the best Borderlands game ever. So it will be a tall task, but I feel like they can do it. Like you said, this trailer showed off a lot of really cool stuff. So we'll see. I hope so as well.
The people, RGG, who make Like a Dragon, or you might know it as Yakuza, actually came in and they displayed, usually they're so known for coming in every year and showing 2 of their Yakuza games, because they have dueling stories. They actually came in and they showed 2 games that I don't think are Yakuza. One, first of all, I guess Virtua Fighter is getting a remake, like a brand new Virtua Fighter, which is great because we're back in the world now where Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and Tekken are king again. It's great to see Virtua Fighter where we now have all 4. We're really just missing Soul Calibur to make it all, like, we're in an era where fighting games are king again. But this one is a brand new one coming from them. And no date announced. This was mostly a teaser. They also had a teaser. Excuse me, for some reason this stopped working. They also had a teaser for another game that looked very similar in structure as their action-focused Yakuza games, but it obviously in the past. They didn't say the real name of this project, but. Obviously, they have not titled the game its final title, because it is called. Excuse me while I find this out. It kicked me out of here. It looks very stunning. Like, it looks like they have a brand new engine for what the Yakuza games would be built in. Insane like lighting effects. Insane. They had like a rain scene at one point. It looks to be like a 70s Japan, like not very far back, but. It might be slightly earlier than that. Don't quote me. It's not like I'm a Japan expert, but it looks very, very exciting, and I'm excited for more from RGG in general.
Yeah, me too.
And sorry, I finally opened it. It is called is called Project Century.
Project Century.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, it's 1915 Japan. So I wasn't even right on that end. So it's still like base guns, still swords. There was a lot of sword action in this. It looks incredible.
This does look really good.
Here's another one I didn't expect. We're getting a new Turok game.
Yes.
Yeah, and it looks really good.
It does. That is a franchise I did not imagine getting a reboot in any capacity. But it's been cool because lately Nintendo has been adding the original Turok games to Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah.
So the timing was perfect. But yeah, dude, a new Turok game sounds sweet.
Yeah, and like when you think of, so I played Turok 1, Turok 2. I don't know if I played 3, to be honest. But like playing the Turok games were incredible, but at the time, the N64 wasn't known for first-person shooters, so the frame rate was kind of crap, to be purely honest. Yeah. This one visually looks stunning. I'm not sure what the story could possibly be, but I'm very interested in playing. It looks like it might be like a mix between first-person and third-person as well. Where I think it's first person, but it might have like finishing maneuvers that go into third person, kind of like a Doom, but they pull back and you see the entire attack of it.
Right. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how they go about this. But like you said, Udo, I'm excited. It does look very, very good, very clean.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Turok's back. Turok's back, baby.
Here's another one I would not have expected. Capcom came in, and I thought, this is it. We're getting Resident Evil. We're finally getting to hear about it. No, instead they went so left field with a game I didn't think we'd get honestly, I don't know how many people want this game other than the diehards, but we're getting a new Onimusha game, which is crazy. They announced it for 2026. We got a cinematic purely trailer for it, but Onimusha Way of the Sword will be coming 2026. And there is, in that cinematic, there were some of like the third person fighting. There's maybe about 10 seconds of clips, and it's still like, it looks in action. If it will continue on what we saw in the 10 seconds, will probably be a lot of fun. I think like the recent rise of these third person action games with all From Software, like it's reigniting other style of third person action games to be rebooted, to be remade. So I'm very excited to play more Onimusha.
I'm very excited too, because truth be told, I've actually never played an Onimusha game.
Oh, really?
And I've heard across the board, because of how much I love Souls games, that so many people say, oh my God, you would love them. You would absolutely love them. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to see what this game is. And I'm definitely going to check it out because I know how loved the franchise is. So good news for Onimusha fans.
The people who made Overcooked. If you've played Overcooked, it is an incredible multiplayer game, but it also is one of the largest tests of friendships other than Mario Party.
100%.
100%. Well, they're making a brand new co-op game called Stage Fright, and it is a split-screen co-op game. One player plays one side, one player plays another, where they have like a competing, colorful world. It didn't go into much detail on the world building of it, but it looks very cute, and it's another one of those co-op games that you can now add to the list. A lot of them on this one show, for sure.
Yeah.
They showed, I'm not a Game of Thrones guy, but they showed a Game of Thrones King's Road game that's coming out that is just packed with actors. Like, visually looks great, but if you were into Game of Thrones, this seems like an actual, like, accompanying piece to it. You might be very interested in, for sure.
Oh, big time. Again, they showed so many characters from the show. And then the Game of Thrones theme playing in the background, it looked beautiful. Again, Game of Thrones fans are definitely going to want to check this one out. It looks like it's going to be a great Game of Thrones game.
And then the final big three, there's a lot of other stuff. If you want to go and check it out, go to YouTube, find out the Game Awards. There's a lot of things that were displayed. We just did not have time to talk about all of it. There is a new game from the people that made Wolf Among Us and Tales from the Borderland, and it is called Dispatch. It's a superhero game from the former Telltale devs, with voices from Aaron Paul and Laura Bailey, and it looks it's weird to say, but because we're so far removed from Telltale games, it seems really refreshing to see a cel-shaded game, story base. That it kind of makes me think of Invincible, if you ever watched that cartoon. It looks really good. I'm very excited to play a story-focused game in that vein, because it feels like we are so far removed from that, and for a good 5 years, it just dominated the gaming cycle. So it's good. It's good to come back to it.
No, for sure. Especially too, again, the game looks amazing. It's so cool. The actors that they've hired for this game as well. But again, those two Telltale games, A Wolf Among Us and Tales from the Borderlands, are two of my favorite like decision-based games, because the story is so unbelievably good. So the fact that it's this team, you know, the story is going to be amazing. And it's been quite some time since I've played like a decision-based game like this. So I'm definitely going to check this one out. Yeah,
I'm very excited to jump into it. And from my understanding, it will be coming out in 2025 at some point as well.
Yeah.
Capcom also came back with another game. This one was another sequel I didn't expect, and a sequel to a game I still have not played. But Capcom showed up a sequel to Okami. They're making an Okami 2. Visually, it looks gorgeous. The watercolor art that would have been great on GameCube, well, now with like technology, it feels like real paint that you're watching move and come to life. The trailer was incredible. No date on this, but for Okami fans, you're finally getting a big sequel to a game that a lot of people never thought you would see a sequel to. So very exciting.
That to me maybe was the biggest shock of the night. I like, and not in a bad way. Again, Okami is amazing, but I never thought they were going to make a sequel to Okami, and they did. And I'm so glad it was featured so late and really treated like a huge deal, because it is a huge deal. So very exciting for Okami fans.
And then finally, the closer for the whole show. This one came out of left field for me. I got so many texts as it was happening. I was about to wrestle on Ring of Honor, and First of all, when you close a Game Awards, you expect something big. So I was thinking we're like, oh, we'll probably see more Death Stranding 2. Like that is like Death Stranding is one of those things that is attached to Game Awards.
Yes.
Jeff Keighley essentially started the trend on the first game and so on. So I thought like, oh, we'll either see this or finally maybe we see GTA 6. Nope.
Yep.
We saw something so different. None of us, I think, could have ever predicted it. Naughty Dog is making a brand new IP. And from what I've been told after this trailer, they talked about it a little bit. They've already invested 4 years of time into it. So they are deep into this cycle already. It is called Intergalactic, Heretic Prophet. Sorry, this is my second language. Heretic. Thank you so much.
Yep.
And it is a sci-fi hack and slash game that looks visually stunning. In the trailer, there's so many little tidbits. One, they have a full Adidas sponsorship in it. There's a sport.
Yes.
You're first of all, you're flying a spaceship in what seems like a 90s setting, with an old 90s Porsche that is turned into like a spaceship. There was Adidas. There was a bunch of actors were teased on screens in the back, never mentioned, but like they obviously blatantly put them there so that you understand it's packed with some of these actors. And then they also show some of the combat at the end, which is like you have a laser sword, you're fighting robots in a third-person action slasher. It looks very cool. The voice acting was incredible. And just to think that Naughty Dog is probably working on sequels to all of their big games, but also making a brand new IP is very exciting. No date, but the fact that they're showing this, it's I would say probably not next year's holiday cycle, maybe the year after that. I would say 2026 is probably a safe bet on release.
Right. But yeah, this is so exciting. Again, so many Naughty Dog franchises are some of the best in video game history. So the fact that we're getting a brand new IP definitely has to be very excited. Clearly, based on this trailer, they have put a ton of time and effort into this particular IP. So I'm very excited to see what they do. And like you said, I'm sure they're working for sequels on some of their other franchises as well. But I am definitely excited to check this one out. They did an amazing job of showing just how serious they are about this. So I'm excited to play it.
And then finally, that was all of the trailers. There was a lot of musical numbers. You can go and check those out as well, as they are always packed. Game Awards likes to bring the artists in and let them perform. You don't get to see a lot of like video game music performed typically. Yeah. And so those are really worth watching most of the time. I did not watch this year's yet, but it is on a playlist of things I'm going to watch once I have a little bit of time. But there was also, with Game Awards, there are Game Awards nominations and winners. So I'm going to go through these real quick. First, most anticipated game won by GTA 6. Not a surprise. Best debut indie game, Balatro won that one. Which
nice, also
not surprising. Good for Balatro. Honestly, Balatro is sweeping in a lot of awards this year. That's made by a single person. Yeah. Insane to think about.
Wild. So
Best
wild.
Independent game overall, Balatro wins it again.
Mm-hmm.
Best multiplayer goes to Helldivers 2. Not surprising. An incredible multiplayer.
Well deserved. Yeah.
Best movie or TV adaptation goes to Fallout.
Oh, let's go. I was so happy about this, Uno. I was so happy about that.
It's been a good year, too, because, like, you may not realize it, but Arcane also came out this year, and that is an incredible TV show from what I understand as well. Best audio, and this is not surprising as well, Senua Saga Hellblade 2. They pretty much are... The audio focus of their video games is the selling point, and until you play it, you don't realize what you could do with audio. It is incredible.
And Uno, again, very quickly, I did play and finish that game, and the audio design with headphones on is unlike anything I've ever played in gaming. So, yeah, well deserved.
Yeah, if you have a good pair of 360 audio headphones, you should definitely play that. Best score in music, not surprising. We even teased this when we were talking about it. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth wins that one. Best performance, Melina Juergens from Hellblade 2. Also unsurprising. It is a emotionally packed video game.
Oh, yeah.
Best narrative. I'm actually surprised from this. I thought Final Fantasy VII would win this, but Metaphor ReFantasio won that one.
Yeah.
Best mobile goes to Balatro. I think Balatro might have had the largest sweep on the Game Awards.
I think so.
Best art direction, Metaphor again. Best ongoing game, that is a game that is constantly updated. Helldivers 2.
Nice.
Best game direction goes to Astrobot.
Beautiful.
Good on you, Astrobot. And this one also surprises me a little bit. Game of the Year went to Astrobot.
I love it, Uno.
I love it too.
Do. And again, I've said too that again, this year's nominees for the Game of the Year was so stacked, where I really think it could have gone to any game. But again, Astrobot is my favorite 3D platformer I've ever played.
Yes.
It's a love letter to Sony and to video games. Again, for the love of God, if you have not played Astrobot yet, please play it. It is so amazing. So amazing.
It's been such a strong year, too. I just didn't know if that would pull it forward. Final Fantasy VII, Black Myth Wukong, Fantasio, like ReFantasio. There was some heavy hitters this year. And that's the beauty. Like, I think Game Awards and all the other award shows that are going on, including like the IGN Awards and so on and so forth, everyone seems to be leaning in a different direction, which is super exciting. It just shows you how strong of a year 2024 was for video games.
I agree. What a year 2024 has been.
And that's it for your news about the Game Awards. Go on YouTube, go check it out if you have not. That's my plan for the week, to be honest. I didn't get to catch all the little stuff, and a lot of the time, some of my favorite stuff is the musical performances, or sometimes they let devs actually talk about their games and the passion some of these people have. Go check that out. 3.5 hours, almost 4 hours if you watch the pre-show, and it's available online practically everywhere. That's it for the news this week, but that is not all, because as always, we've got one more segment. It's our favorite one, and it's coming up right after this. Hello, we're back, and it is time for your favorite segment of the show. It's the Arcade Mailbag, brought to you by our sponsors over at Upper Deck. It's now time for your favorite segment, because Upper Deck brings it straight to you. Collect your favorite wrestlers in 2024's Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap autographs, memorabilia, and premium tech inserts. We've got Chugs here with a pack of his own. What did you unpack today?
Yes, here we go. We've got some very, very good cards.
BCC.
That was Blackpool Combat Club.
Man, I sat them in. That's the greatest card I've ever seen.
A little Trent Beretta.
There's a little Trent,
Little Trent Beretta.
Swerve
Strickland. Oh, we got a good deck. Little Don Callis. Nice. Juice. And it's his debut card. Which is
you got a shiny Takeshita?
Yes. Oh, that card's sick. That card is
There's
sick.
a Miro. Oh, that's also a different one, too. I've never seen those ones.
Yeah, that is.
Aussie Open.
Aussie Open. Nice. And
Roosh.
Oh boy, yeah, a lot of Mercedes
is on there. That's the Gates of Agony and Brian Cage.
Yep. There we go.
And then looped around back to BCC.
That was a good deck.
You can get your very own cards of AEW as well as other sport cards and memorabilia, all on upperdeck.com. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. Thank you to Upper Deck for sponsoring. It's time, baby. Community mailbag. We got 3 questions today, Chugs.
3 questions. And the first question is from Michael. Michael, thank you for the question. Michael says, hey, Chugs and Uno. I felt like all the winners at the VGAs deserved their win with the exception of one. As you know, Astrobot took home the prize for Best Family Game. And while it definitely deserved to win for Best Game of the Year, it's still a single-player experience. I believe a family game should go to a game that you can play with your family. Please let me know if this is a crazy take. Would love to hear your opinions. What do you think, Uno?
So I'm actually, you know what? While I could see why that would be the case, I also feel like, for example, Nintendo would have single player games, but they became family games because you could give a second controller to someone and they could pick up stars, they could add to it. I think what Astrobot does very interestingly is that the levels are very bite-sized, that you can just hand over your controller to someone and they can play it, and it's kind of like a collaborative shared experience. I think it's super approachable for children, and I think in a lot of ways that's why it won Family Game. But I do respect the opinion because I feel like if we had a strong multiplayer children-focused game that isn't Fortnite, because Fortnite would probably win it every single year, there might have been a contention for that. But Astrobot is an incredible game, and I think especially because you could be 6 and play it and not have anything. There's no adult content. It's just nothing but feel-good gaming. I think it still deserved the Best Family Game Award.
Yeah, going off of your answer, which I completely agree with, Uno. Again, I totally see, Michael, where you're coming from. Like, for example, something like Mario Party Jamboree, the whole family can play. I've actually played that with my family, and it's a blast. But again, some of my favorite co-op experiences actually are playing a single-player game and passing it back and forth with my brother. So to me, that feels like a co-op experience in a lot of ways. And again, you could certainly do that with your family as well. I can imagine how amazing this game would be to watch as a kid, and maybe you play and then your brother or sister plays, or your dad or your mom plays, and you guys just take turns with the controller, because Astrobot not only is incredible to play, but it's an incredible game to watch as well. So I think it does deserve Best Family Game as well. Like I said, totally see where you're coming from. But again, this game was special, very, very special. Yes. And I think it is something that, while taking turns, you could share with the entire family. But Michael, thank you very much for the question.
Still a great question. And thank you for your opinion as well. Good. And thanks for listening. Next question here is by Ravi. This one says, "Hey, Chugs and Uno, I decided to take the plunge recently and purchase a Steam Deck OLED. I have not done that, Ravi. You're ahead of me. I may have to do it just out of pure jealousy. My girlfriend gave me a $100 Steam Deck gift card for my birthday and would love some recommendations on how to spend it. I don't have many games in my current library other than Cyberpunk, Elden Ring, GTA 5, Red Dead 2, and the Fallout games. I like most genres, but I tend to gravitate towards single-player games. Thanks, gents. Do you have any good recommendations for our good friend, Ravi?"
Yeah, certainly. So especially based on that list that I'm already seeing, again, the Steam Deck OLED runs amazing games. For example, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 run brilliantly on the Steam Deck OLED. So if you're looking for more of like an Elden Ring or a Soulsborne experience, those are really, really good. Also, I see that you have Red Dead 2 and Cyberpunk and Fallout in here. My friend, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on the Steam Deck runs amazing. Not only that, if you know a workaround, you can get The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings also to run on the Steam Deck. So you just have to use the Proton Experimental, and then it works no problem. But yeah, those are some amazing single-player experiences, some big heavy hitters that I would highly recommend. And it's so cool to be able to play these games on the go and in your hand. So I think those would be awesome for you, Ravi.
So my suggestion is going to be super reductive, because you could have played it on anything and you didn't need the OLED. But guess what? Even though all of those games will be gorgeous on that screen, if I get an OLED tomorrow, my first 15 hours will be playing Balatro again.
Yes.
I've converted so many people through this podcast to play Balatro. It's such an incredible handheld game. It does not need to be on your Steam Deck OLED. It's available on mobile. But guess what? It would look very good if you got it on there.
It would.
It would look so good. Other than that, I've been playing 1000X Resist, which runs very, very well and is not the prettiest game in comparison to, let's say, Red Dead and so on, but very visually stunning with what they have access to, and that would be a great recommendation to play on the road as well.
Nice.
Ravi, thank you for your question.
Yes. And last but not least, we have a question from J.M. Maynard. He says, "Yo, Uno and Chugs. I've been playing a lot of Black Ops 6. Nice. Lately, and after getting used to the Omni movement system, other games now feel kind of clunky and slow. My question is, has there ever been a gaming innovation that, once you experienced it, changed the way you experienced playing other games?" Uno, what do you think?
It's funny, we on our little group chat, our editor, Justin, thank you, Justin, for doing all of this stuff. We were talking about Indiana Jones, and he has the same opinion. He just came from Call of Duty. That Omni movement system that they have implemented has ruined first-person games for him, because it feels like it's like a natural fit of what you should use in first-person games. I know you and I are going to have the similar opinion on this, but since the Astrobot games, other than Astrobot itself, the haptic feedback is just something I wish every game had implemented, because when I played it, every game afterwards felt like it was missing an element that it could be taking advantage of. Haptic feedback on a controller is just incredible, and I feel like more games should be doing it.
It really is. And haptic feedback is so impressive to me that Uno, but before haptic feedback with the PlayStation 5, I generally turned my vibration off completely. Like on my Xbox, on my Switch, on my PlayStation 4, I generally was like, I don't really want to mess with the vibration at all. But then with the haptic feedback, now I wish every single game had that. It is just so cool. It adds so much to the immersion. I think over time we will probably see that, especially with the success of games like Astrobot and how just revered that feature is. But yeah, same thing. My answer would be I would love to have more haptic feedback for every game that I play. It really, really takes you deeper and deeper into the game. So yeah, I'm just like you, Uno.
Yeah, I'm hoping future Sony titles, first-person titles, really take advantage of it. Like, especially, like, even as simple as when you have to pull the trigger on a gun to have that squeeze, it changes, like, it just changes the feeling of the game entirely. But great question. And you were very right about the omnidimensional stuff. Thank you for sending your questions. You can send your question as well. Go to tbs.com/arcade mailbag and we can read it on our third segment of our podcast. That's it for today's podcast. It was a big episode with the Game Awards. Chugs, we could find you on Twitch, twitch.tv, the Chugs this week, correct?
That is correct. Yep, more of the 5-game cycle. So twitch.tv/the Chugs. Feel free to come and hang out. That's
right. And if you want to subscribe to this podcast, you can. We're available on all podcasting networks as well. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/AEW Games. Go in the game section, find us in there, go in the comments, drop your knowledge. What Game Awards game did you enjoy the most? Which one are you the most excited for, and what are you most anticipating in the year of 2025? Let us know down below. Also remember, next week it's the big one. Ourselves, me and Chugs, and some guests will be talking about Game of the Year nominees here at AEW Games. We'll be talking about best for each console, including best game, and a ton of other stuff. That is next week, next Monday's episode, so do be there. Stay tuned, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.